arsenal. Exclusive inputs being shared by Security Affairs Editor Manoj Gupta. China is fast-tracking the delivery of its fifth-generation stealth fighter jets, the J-35A, to its long-time strategic partner, Pakistan. Top diplomatic sources in Beijing and Islamabad have called it a reward following the India-Pakistan conflict last week. Sources also maintain that in Beijing and Islamabad, sources revealing that Pakistan is expected to receive the first batch of 30 J-35A jets as early as August 2025. This decision underscores the urgency driving bilateral defense collaboration between the two nations. Top diplomatic sources confirm that China has offered Pakistan a 50% discount on these fighter jets. Intelligence reports indicate that a cohort of Pakistan Air Force pilots have already been dispatched to the People's Liberation Army Air Force headquarters in Beijing for operational conversion training on the J-35A platform. So this is yet again an example of the synergy militarily between Pakistan and China, and how China continues to provide Pakistan with some of these fighter jets, the military arsenal completely being backed by China. It's investing $25 billion in Pakistan's civil and military infrastructure as part of the China-Pakistan economic corridor as well. So these are some of the exclusive inputs. In fact, according to some intelligence reports, we're also learning of how China is bringing forward the delivery time as soon as possible. Islamabad is expected to receive this first batch of 30 stealth fighter jets. This is the J-35A. As many as 30 of them will or are expected to reach Islamabad by August 2025. In just a few months' time, Pakistan will be receiving the first batch of these 30 J-35A aircrafts. Going across to Siddhant Mishra, who joins us live with more details. The defense cooperation between China and Pakistan is well known to all, Siddhant. The HQ-9 air defense system, the P-15 missiles that Pakistan put to use against India was one such example. But tell us about the procurement of J-35A that we're learning of as per the exclusive inputs that have been shared by Manoj Gupta.
Well, yes, that's right. Everyone is aware of China-Pakistan's defense cooperation. And in fact, now what Manoj Gupta is bringing for us is that China is all set to deliver fifth-generation stealth fighter jets to Pakistan. First batch of 30 fifth-generation J-35 to arrive in Pakistan by August 2025. China offered 50% discount rate to Pakistan. Beijing is likely to restore CPEC Phase 2 soon. China to invest $25 billion in Pakistan's civil and military infrastructures. Pakistani authorities assured China full support and smoother access to Gwadar port operations. According to top diplomatic sources in Beijing and Islamabad, that Chinese authorities are reportedly fast-tracking the delivery of its next-gen stealth fighter jets, that is J-35A, to long-time strategic partner Pakistan, with Islamabad now expected to receive its first batch by August 2025. According to the sources, the China bringing
Islamabad is expected to receive the first batch of 30 stealth fighters by August. The sources claim that China is happy with Pakistan's Air Force's performance against India. Now China is offering 50% discount on J-35A. According to the initial agreement, Pakistan is scheduled to begin receiving the first batch by August. Reports from late 2024 first revealed Pakistan's plan to procure 40 J-35A fifth-generation stealth fighters, marking the first known export of fifth-generation fighter aircraft by China. After the recent India-Pakistan crisis, in fact, the Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, visited China. The timing of the deal closely followed a high-profile security visits to Islamabad and Beijing by Chinese and Pakistani officials. The recent meetings focused on expanding strategic military cooperation between Pakistan and China amid a backdrop of increasingly complex regional security dynamics. According to some intel sources, reports indicate that
cohort of Pakistan Air Force pilots has already been dispatched to People's Liberation Army Air Force headquarters in Beijing for operational conversion training on the J-35A platform. On the other hand, China authorities have decided to invest $25 billion more in Pakistan civil and military infrastructure. Perhaps we have seen in last 4 weeks the behavior of China. In fact, the Chinese ambassador in Pakistan was meeting all the stakeholders, from leader of opposition to the army personnel to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. In fact, China has no hesitation in accepting the fact that they are backing Pakistan. In fact, this time around, when Indian side defeated the Pakistani side in Operation Sindoor, in fact, the Chinese systems didn't perform well. But Pakistan, on the face, claimed victory, and perhaps they built this narrative around Chinese systems that they outperformed, and because of the Chinese systems, they could manage to defeat India. In fact, Manoj Gupta also reported the other day that the DG ISPR press briefings and all the material that DG ISPR is putting out is perhaps on behalf of China's military-industrial complex, because China does not want to be seen as somebody with as a country which supplies substandard equipments. But the fact is that the Chinese equipment, the quality of Chinese military equipments got exposed during the Operation Sindoor. Having said that, China has a very deep cooperation with Pakistan as far as CPEC project is concerned, as far as Gwadar port is concerned. In fact, China gave them a fresh new airport, perhaps, and that airport is non-operational. There is no flight which lands and takes off from that airport. So that is the situation of Chinese investments on ground. Having said that, just to keep the momentum going, and also in a way thanking Pakistan to keep the reputation of the Chinese military industrial complex intact, perhaps this particular announcement has been done by Beijing, or rather, Manoj Gupta has got to know that the 30 fresh new 5th generation stealth fighter jets will be given to Pakistan by August 2025. So they have fast-tracked the delivery. In fact, the Pakistani pilots have gone to China for the training purpose, etc.
China's offer a 50% discount on these fighter jets to Pakistan, Siddhant. So we need to take this up with our experts. Thank you for joining us with all those details. And yes, you're right, defective performance is perhaps the price that Pakistan is paying for the cheap military deliveries that it has constantly received from China. Lieutenant General S. Hari Mohan Iyer, former Chief of Staff, Northern Command, joins us on the broadcast. A very good afternoon to you, General. Would you reckon with that? Would you agree to the fact that P-15 air-to-air missile or the HQ-9 air defense system were failed, and the Indian Armed Forces submitted ample proof of the same during Operation Sindoor? Now, procurement of at least 30 J-35As, which is scheduled for the month of August this year itself, is perhaps a part of this larger narrative that the two nations are trying to build in order to save themselves from the global embarrassment that's been cast upon them, General?
Good afternoon, Christine, and thank you for having me on your show. Firstly, this J-35 deal is not a new deal. It was something which has been there in the works for some time. Secondly, in a world order where new countries are trying to, enter the defense marketing sphere, which was dominated by USA, certain European nations like France and Russia, China is now becoming a major player as far as defense production is concerned. And today it is looking at the areas where he can put this equipment to showcase these equipments. Otherwise, J-35 will be showcased only in a possible aero show, where it will be having a very limited impact to the world body. The Chinese J-35, as one looks at, is somewhat similar looking to the F-35 of the Americans. It is believed that they have stolen the design from the Americans and have tried to create their own version of the F-35. I will not give it the kind of value which an F-35 carries, so we should not get alarmed by that. I had mentioned, I think in your show once earlier, that Pakistan is getting Ukrained by China, which means that China is using Pakistan to test its military hardware, which, if it succeeds, will make a huge market for itself in the countries like African countries which are looking for such products. Having said that, fifth generation aircraft without the kind of other support of integration should not be a cause of concern or a problem for us at the current moment. Yes, it should certainly start giving a kind of impetus to our own AMCA program, which is going in a very slow pace. I'm sure the country's strategists will start looking at it and maybe make it a national product and try and speed it up. We may be forced to undertake some degree of spot buying, which in any case we are looking at because we are still in a state of operations with China. And the J-35, whether with the Chinese or with the Pakistanis, have the same kind of threat implications for us. So the Chinese, having shown their capability to put the J-35 in air, have already started the procedure in the Indian strategic think minds to look for an alternative. And that is why, if you had seen, in the last Aero India show, we had the Su-57 and the F-35 being showcased. There are people who are studying it. You must understand, an aircraft by itself is not something very great. It is the system it brings along with it which becomes kind of a potent platform. So just by buying 30 F-35s, we will not be, countering the J-35s which the Pakis might get. In the same mind, a Pakis J-35 will have limited implications for us.
Okay,
so that
but what's in all of this, General?